All right, Cody Adams, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, dude.
I'm pretty keen to. There's like a lot of stuff I want to chat about and get your view on and kind of how you perceive things and how I guess things are changing because you're obviously at the moment like you're fairly blowing up on social media. I first found out about you through like the Mega Run stuff.
Yep.
And that's where I kind of picked up on what you were doing, and now seeing kind of, it's funny when people like suddenly kind of pop off or like hit, but like obviously they have so much behind them of like putting stuff out, and then something will kind of hit, and then it will kind of, the traction will just grab and they'll go. How has it kind of been for you, kind of feeling like there has been a bit of a shift and you have got that momentum now? What's that been like?
I mean, and everyone says this, but at the start, it's like, holy crap, like I've just hit 5K, I've just hit 10K, 15, 20, and it's like really exciting. And then it's sort of like, it sort of wears off. The video that did pop off for me was my first speech video at Mega Run. So the format of Mega Run is everyone comes there and we're there to show everyone that, and prove to people that they are capable of more, and running is just a tool that we use to do that, right? And we have a purpose speech. So the purpose of Mega Run is exactly that. And you give a little bit of a spiel and really just inspire the people in front of you. And Will Martin actually recorded my first video, or my first speech, sorry. And I just put that, it was like the most middly recorded clip. It was crappy audio, crappy quality, and it just popped off. I was like, wow, this might like hit 100K, and got like, you wouldn't even believe the amount of hate on that video. And that was the video for me. So ever since then, it sort of just continued to grow, and yeah, it is quite crazy. It's quite crazy how a number next to your name can change your life. And not that my following's too big, but it definitely has changed my life and opened a lot of doors and given me a lot of opportunities that were non-existent prior.
What you said there though, like you said, and this is obviously a big thing with social media now, is like it got hate on it, and hate pushes traction. Hate pushes the algorithm. And I guess that's a big thing that you would feel in, like, I've obviously seen comments on stuff you post and things like that, and there's literally people going hate from here or hate from there.
Yeah.
And I find it funny because I've got this analogy. Imagine like your Instagram's like your business, and you've started up this business, and people come into your business every day and say, this is shit, that's shit, I hate this, like, what are you doing? And then throw some money on the ground, being a hate comment because it helps boost your business, throw some money on the ground and then walk out. And then go, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's like, I never understood the thing. It's like, if you actually don't like what someone's putting out, like, why don't you unfollow them and leave it? Like, I don't see the point in just showing up every day to write a hateful comment if you actually do hate them. But by doing that, you're actually helping them. It's like contradicts the reason that you're even posting the thing. But how have you felt with that, with getting, because obviously I'm interested to know how you feel by, like, it's this double-edged sword where it's giving you momentum and making you more famous in the world of Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff, but it's also through hate. So how's that feel on both those sides?
I know how it affects my page's growth, and my mission is to inspire people to push past their perceived limits by continually pushing past my own. So the more eyes that I can get on my message on my page is a win for me. And I've got such a good support crew behind me, and I've been putting in the reps in myself over the last year, 6 months specifically, that it doesn't really get to me. And like I said, the support crew is so important. The people that I have in my corner, the environment that I surround myself in, is too strong to let things like that get to me, especially because I know where it's coming from. I know that my message and what I portray, what I put across on social media doesn't sit right with a lot of people. But it is my truth, and that's all someone can speak, right? I know that they don't like to hear it because potentially they've got a problem or something that they haven't sorted out themselves. And it just comes from a place of jealousy, insecurity, and then they see the numbers going up and all they can say is, oh, he's buying his followers, and, you know. So I know where it comes from. I've been in the position, I've never commented hate on something personally, but I know sort of their life that they live in, that cycle. I've lived that life 100%, and I've been upset majority of the time, and I've not liked seeing other people do better than me. And so I know where it comes from, and I know who I am, and like I said, the support crew is just all time. Like, I'm getting calls going, yo, that was the sickest video, dude. And it will get 10 comments of people saying hate from, I don't know, everywhere.
Yeah. So I guess that's the thing, because I know for me personally, if I post something and it gets 10 really good comments, but that one that's like, oh, you're whatever, it's kind of human nature to focus on that one negative. And I'm just guessing for you, because I go through the comments, and like you say, like you there's some of your posts have got 2,000 comments, and it's like, what percentage? Okay, you've got maybe 50% are negative, 50% are positive, and it's like, how it's that balance of let the positive influence you into doing more and not let the negative influence you and just stopping. But it's just that, do you feel like you kind of have lent into it a little bit as well?
100%.
To be like, well, if it's going to boost engagement, if it's going to boost my brand, well, I'm just going to probably put a bit more on this than I would before.
100%, yeah. I mean, a few and it's always me. It's always coming from an authentic place. It's like things that I would actually say, like some videos that I post, and people are probably going, wow, that's left wing, dude, you know? But it's things that I'd say to my friends. It's just like, I'll chuck it on a camera, like the most handsome runner in the Gold Coast or something. Like, I'd just jokingly say that to my friends. Like, I don't actually think I'm the most handsome runner in the Gold Coast, but one, I'd say that because it's funny, and I reckon I'm a funny guy. And two, I know that people are going to go, you're not the most handsome runner in the Gold Coast. Rah, look, you look like Sid the Sloth, you know? So I'm like milking their comments. And I don't know if they know, but I definitely know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that for sure, man, because it's like, when you see something's working, it's like double down on that.
100%.
And keep pushing that.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just, if you are capable of dealing with the backlash that comes from that, and you're all good with that, like, why not? Because it's like, you can preach this good message, but I know even personally, like, I feel like I post a fair bit of positive stuff, but people don't engage with positivity. Like, you might get a few comments, oh, this is really cool, like, good job. But when you post something that actually makes people disagree with you, they want to let you know.
Yeah.
Like, for example, do you know Chris Griffin?
Yeah.
I did a podcast with him, and he took a snippet out, and in the snippet, it was out of context, but I just said paying rent's not important. And obviously, like, paying rent is important, but the context was when I was paralyzed on the ground and didn't think I was going to walk again. Rent didn't seem important at that point in my life. Like, that was not even on the radar. So that was the context of the conversation, and it was leading off something he said about how you always find a way and you overcome and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But because of that little snippet, people commented like, oh, you've probably got a roof over your head. That's easy for you to say. Or like, you're privileged, or like all this stuff. But that blew up that clip, and that went viral because of hate on that clip. And it's like, okay, how do you balance that out? So, like, I know my message was positive. I know what I was putting out is positive. So then I guess it's like, you don't let it stick to you, because it's like, you know where it's coming from.
100. But think about how many people saw that and then went and checked out your profile and then went, oh, fuck, this guy's actually a G. I'm going to follow him. And then they get impacted by your other positive things that you put out just from the one clip. It's like, I've got one with like 8.5 million views, and it was me, and I was fucked up on drugs, and then it's me just living my life now. And it got that would probably be the one that you'd seen with like 2,000, and I reckon 80% of them are negative. But then think about how many people have actually. This is like my mindset. I'm like, that's epic, because think about how many people then go on my profile, And maybe 80% of them will go, this guy's a knob. Awesome. I don't want you to follow me anyway, dude. But the ones that come on and go, whoa, this guy's actually like completely changed his life. I want to follow him. And then they get impacted by all the other posts, all the other reels, all the other stories, daily showing up. All you need to do is show up, consistency. And they go, true. Well, if he's done that, then I can do it too. Like, he was probably more fucked up than I was. So I think of all the positives that come out of all of those negatives, and everything happens for a reason. Like, all of those people are commenting for a reason. It's to blow my page up even more, or to get more eyes on the message. That's the way I sort of think about it. Like that clip, for example, perfect. You know what I mean? If you can do that and get people to comment and engage and share the post, look at this knob. It's like, epic, because the people that will come out of that actually will love me will tenfold all of the hate that it gets anyway in the long run. And it's all about long run for me. It's like long game.
With that post, because I wanted to talk to you about the whole idea, this is something I didn't agree with, because at the start of it you say balance is an excuse. Now I think balance is kind of what makes up life. Like, I think we do need good and bad. We do need to overcome stuff. We do need to indulge in something to then appreciate something else. I feel like that was one thing that I didn't agree with, how you said in the post that even one of the things you said was is going to have like a glass of wine once in a while a good or a bad thing. You said that was a bad thing. It was wrong. But then after you said you shouldn't go out every weekend. So I thought that kind of contradicted itself, that you said like going out now and again is a bad thing, but then you said every weekend. It was like those two things. Like, I believe if you do have a balanced life, you can have a glass of wine at dinner, you can socialize with your friends, you can have that lifestyle and still be successful in whatever you want to do. And I guess this is obviously working because it's getting pushback, but I guess your messaging is more so telling people what they should do. And I think people are getting taken back by that, where I guess the approach of saying this worked for me, it might not work for you, it could, I don't know, but this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that messaging is deliberate because it does get more of a reaction, or whether that's just how you feel you should tell people about your message.
I mean, maybe the wording was wrong there, the contradiction there. But it's solely what I believe. I mean, I think that balance is just an excuse. In my eyes, it's like a commitment that I've made to myself. It's like, I want to be the best version of me. And the world we live in an attraction universe. And to me, a glass of wine or a beer with dinner it's not meant to be in our bodies realistically. And if I'm going to have that and my gut biome or maybe my mental is not going to be as clear the next day, then it just doesn't really align with anything that I want to do. I want to continually strive to be my best. And having a glass of wine at dinner just doesn't really align with that. Now, I mean, balance could work for other people and obviously does, but that's not my truth. Like, I don't believe that. It might work.
But that's what I mean, like, how you are saying that, it's like, it doesn't work for me. And I guess I looked at a few of your posts, and a lot of the wording is you use you. So you obviously, when you say it's directing it at the audience that this won't work for you. And I guess that's where when someone tells me what does and doesn't work for you, and obviously that gets the reaction because it's like, yeah, it does work for me, blah, blah, blah. And they comment and it drives it. That's the thing. It's like, it's engaging. But I've always found what worked better for myself in pushing a message is saying, this worked for me. This works for what my lifestyle, what I want. And just putting that out there should be enough to kind of get people engaged with your message. But telling someone that, hey, this is, because I think the thing is, and again, it all comes back to this pushes engagement, but it makes people kind of feel attacked and a bit like guilty of doing something that they feel like is good for them. And then I guess, and again, if they don't like it, I'll just unfollow you. Like, fucking, it's pretty simple. But I guess it's just the messaging, how I see it, is more of like telling people, not showing people. It's like leading by example instead of trying to like push a message or an agenda on someone.
Yeah.
But again, like, do you change that? Because if you change that, then it's like maybe you won't get the engagement through hateful comments, but is that better? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what's better, what's worse?
Yeah, well, I get where you're coming from, and I mean, not everything's engagement, right? Like, whoever's meant to follow me will follow me, but I do. I do solely believe that the world would be a better place if we had more people who didn't drink, and I think that's this is where I could probably pivot. Is that's how I learn. Is someone going, "You're a fucking idiot. Do better." Like, that's just like, you know how each person you have to like talk to them differently, and that's just how I learn. Like, if someone who I look up to was like, "Cody, bro, you can do better than that, bro. What are you doing?" I'm like, oh, fuck, I've just let this guy down, dude. Like, I've let myself down. What am I doing? So that's how I learn. And I understand, obviously, by myself learning and growing, that you have to talk to different people different ways to get across to them. For instance, my mum actually is completely different to that. Like, that's like way too forward for her. And she's actually said that in some of my old YouTube videos. She was like, "Oh, like, do you think that you could take this approach?" And I'm like, but if I took that approach, then it wouldn't really be me. And I'm all for like authenticity. That's what my whole page is like built on, is Cody. And that's what as soon as I started to implement actually being myself and speaking the way that I'd speak and dancing around and doing silly shit, which is just me, is when it started to really work. So,
well, it blows me away in a society where we preach it. It just gets thrown around so often now, this idea of authenticity and how everyone wants to be authentic and be themselves. And then as soon as you step outside of the norm for what society views you as being the norm, you suddenly get all this hate and judgment and ridiculed. And it's like, we're pushing this idea that be authentic. And then someone is authentic and then they get ripped down because they're standing out.
Yeah, but I mean, it would just be like you would definitely relate to this. It's like everyone wants to do a podcast. Everyone wants to own a pretty cool place in Burleigh, like, but no one actually wants to do what it takes to get to that spot. No one actually wants to put in the hard work. Everyone wants a good body, but not many people actually want to do what it takes to be shredded and eat the right foods and train every day and get the right sleep. It's so like, and it's in today's generation, like, yeah, be yourself, man. But no one's actually comfortable with being uncomfortable enough to be themselves around other people. They all think about what everyone's thinking of them and getting judged, and I mean, I was very much the same.
Do you think that's why you kind of went down the path of doing drugs and alcohol?
100%, bro. I mean, at the start, it was fun. I loved it, dude. It was so good.
Yeah, because I was going to ask that, because your big message is about like not drinking, but then obviously the videos you post, I would say you're on something.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gateway for me. And I think a lot of people would relate to this. As soon as I have a beer at the pub, I'm like, yo, where's the nearest bag?
Yeah. And you just fall down that path.
100%, dude. And it's just like you have to realize the trigger. It's like stopping cigarettes. It's like, all right, the trigger is when I wake up and have my morning cup of coffee. I like having a cigarette with it.
Yeah.
So you take away the triggers or replace the triggers, right? So for me, drinking was just the biggest trigger. And as soon as I stopped that, I stopped all of it.
But I guess coming back to that then, it's this whole idea of balance. And have you ever actually tried to balance the odd drink and being the athlete and running and all that together? Have you actually tried to balance that all? Because it just, from how you put what you put out on social media, it just goes, I was out every weekend, partying, doing drugs, that, to then overnight, now I'm running, training, healthy, motivational. Like, was the middle ground you trying to balance that with, like, maybe I'll have a drink with mates and then I'll run the next day? Like, was that ever a thing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it took me ages to phase out alcohol. I'd go, yeah, all right, I'm not drinking it, because I was training like 5 times a week, and then I'd just go out every weekend still, and I'd feel like I was not getting it. Like, I was just losing my gains. I was just going to the gym for no reason almost. And I mean, that's obviously taken it to a different extent. Like when I'd go out. Like, I'd come home at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But for me, I don't really see the purpose in, and a lot of people that I speak to do, but I don't see the purpose in me going and having 3 beers at the pub and then coming home and going to bed and then waking up and going to train. I'd rather go to bed, have a nice meal, go to bed and then wake up 110%, rather go and have 3 beers, go to bed a little bit later, wake up 80%. Because it just doesn't align with who I am and where I'm going. If I'm doing something, I'm all in. And I believe that, I mean, even 1 beer, you're not going to be 100%. You just can't be.
I guess it comes back to people would view that and say a social aspect, a relaxed aspect. Like I know, for example, I used to race downhill mountain bikes, and the greatest of all time, he would always be kind of partying and having a good time. And I guess you could see him balancing that for himself, and some people need that. So like they need to be able to socialize and let back, and then they can relax. And then when they relax, they can almost get more. But again, it comes back to like, what are your values? What works for you and what doesn't work for you?
As soon as you said that, he's the GOAT of downhill mountain biking, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if he didn't drink.
But then it's like, okay, he could be worse. He might not even be doing it now. Like that's the thing. Your perception of what you think not drinking would do for him could be the polar opposite. He might stop drinking. He might not socialize at the races. He might hate it, and he might have retired already. That's what I mean.
That's a great point. Everything is perception, right? Yeah. In my perception, it's like the alcohol obviously makes you not as good as you could have been. It's like you cannot wake up hungover and be 100%. Like you just can't. Like you can't be as good as you were before you drank.
Well, let's just replace the alcohol with like an ice bath.
Yep.
People would look at getting up and hopping in the ice bath as the morning. It's like, I don't want to get in the ice bath. So I'm going to be freezing cold. It's going to take me ages for my body to warm up. I'm going to be stiff. I'm going to be achy.
Yep.
I'm going to hate it so much that I don't even want to do it anymore. And fuck it, I'm not going to even do any ice baths. I'm not going to do my runs anymore. I'm just going to go back to doing my normal thing. So saying that to someone, replacing the alcohol with the ice bath, like you said, like imagine if he didn't have the alcohol. I'm like, imagine if he didn't have the ice bath. That's like, again, it's for different people. They could experience the same thing so differently. And I guess that was coming back to the messaging of this works for me. And if this works for me, it could possibly work for you. But if it doesn't, that's okay. Because I see now with a lot of people that do push this, like get up early, get in the ice bath, be healthy, do all this. And like some people work better at night.
Yeah,
some
100%.
People don't need to get in ice baths.
Yeah.
Some people just need to like lock in. Some people like crowds. Some people, it's that broad, I guess, arena of different personalities and different people. And it all comes back to, if you don't like something, don't follow it. That's why I find it interesting that people that don't like it still follow and comment. It really blows my mind that is a thing. But I guess it's saying that you can live a life that is so different to someone else that is doing the exact same thing that you're doing. And it's like I said, you might just work better in, like, we're all so different.
Yeah.
But I guess like coming back to your point of imagine how good he would be if he didn't drink. I'm like, he might not even do it. So it's like you could fall either way. Like he might be, you never know. But it's like when you see two people that are polar opposite and the best at something in the world, whether that's in a sport or business or whatever, you realize that it's like you don't need to follow the same blueprint. You can do something completely different and still get to the same point. Yeah,
100%. I completely agree. I mean, the ice bath is totally right. Like, it's not going to work for everyone. I mean, waking up in the morning, it's not going to work for everyone. Meditating, journaling, like, these things aren't going to work for everyone. You have to find what works for you. I completely agree. I mean, an ice bath, which has like multiple health benefits and just like the only reason I get in that, dog, is because I don't want to get in there at 4 a.m. But comparing it to, I guess, alcohol, it's like there's no real health benefits. I can see where you're coming from. That
but if you stay in that ice bath for 40 minutes, you're gonna die. If you keep drinking alcohol, you're gonna die. It's like it all comes back to how much you're actually using it and what you're using it for. Like alcohol can be a tool in. Like I've made some really good connections through going out and having like 2 beers and going home, and then that has in turn helped my business. So I'm like,
100%.
Was drinking a good or a bad thing? And like you say, you hop in the ice bath, you feel awake, you feel good, you feel recovered. You stay in for the whole, like an hour. It's like, and now you're dead. Yeah. It's like, is that ice bath good or bad? And it's It's neither. It's just how you use it.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. And obviously there's sacrifices that you have to make in both fields. It's like people say that to me. They're like, oh, but bro, like, you know, you never know who you could meet on a night out. It's so true, dude. But I don't really want to meet those people, or that's a sacrifice that I have to make, that I'm just not going to meet those people because I'm not going to be in those places. And then once again, what's worked for me, or what's worked better for me, is that the people that I've met in places and environments that I do go to, or that I do thrive in, or that are in the morning, example, run clubs and social things like that.
Have you tried to go out not drinking, not doing any drugs, and even like to a certain time?
Yeah.
And how's that felt?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I can definitely do it. I still bust a move down, dude. Yeah. I love dancing. But I've just found that those places aren't that fun for me. You know, like I'd actually prefer to go to bed and get a better sleep. Like I just really prioritize my sleep and just my, the next morning I'm thinking about, like I'll be out and be like, oh, like checking the time and.
Yeah, you get a bit anxious.
It's just not that actually enjoyable for me.
Yeah, no, I fully, again, can relate to that as well. It's like, obviously you pick what works for you, and you, again, that is being authentic to you, because it's like, this is what I know I need.
Yeah. And
kind of doesn't matter what else is there.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got this video I saw it on TikTok the other day, and I feel like it relates a lot to kind of what we're saying right now, but I'll just play the video. It's by Matthew McConaughey, is talking about kind of people liking you and authenticity. I'll play it.
I would rather be hated for who I truly am than to be adored for someone who I'm not. Love based on a lie is of no worth. I would rather be rejected for being my true self than to be embraced by the false side of me. People don't have to like me. And I won't change how I am to suit other people. What you see is what you get. I've done bad things and made plenty of poor decisions, but I'll always remain true to myself. Even though I don't like some of the things I've done, in that moment, it felt like the right thing to do. No matter who you're with or what new friends you make, never change yourself to suit them.
100%.
So I saw that, and I guess that it really kind of, I was obviously thinking about the chat we were going to have, and it kind of got the wheels ticking with that. But I guess it's like, you can even look back at the choices you made and who you were around, and then realized you wanted to make a change. What was there, like a defining factor where you said, okay, I don't want to live this life anymore, I want to change?
There wasn't like I've had some pretty bad moments, but when I'm in it, I didn't see it as like, oh, this is like rock bottom, dude. But I mean, I've had some pretty rock bottom moments, but none were really like enough to, like, no one got killed or like jail or anything like that. Over time, I was just like in this constant cycle, and I always talk about this cycle. It's like, I'm just meant for more than this, dude. Like I always knew, like I've always thought of myself as bright, as athletic, as can get anything that I want. Like I always knew that, and I just knew that I wasn't aligning with who I was supposed to be. And then I slowly just weaned off. I mean, I was like, and I was so lucky with my best mate, Keen, and we would do everything together. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't know if I'll go out this weekend. And he was like, oh man, like I was thinking the same thing, dude. And we sort of like had that in common. So I sort of broke away with him, which made it a lot easier, you know, because we're like, okay, well, what can we do on the weekend? Dude, I have no clue. I don't know. Should we swim? And it's like at the start I had no clue, but there was no like, I'm done. It was sort of was weaning off for a year plus. that really got, and you'd stop going out for 3 weeks, and then you'd have a birthday and you'd go out and get written off, and then you'd be like, oh man, and you'd start to feel good. Like on that third Monday, you'd go, I'm actually pretty keen to go to work today, which is a feeling that I'd never had before. And then you'd go out and the next Monday would suck. You go, And I just started adding it up. Like, dude, I think it's the going out. Like, no shit, Cody.
Yeah.
You know? And then so just slowly started to get longer and longer and longer. And then I actually had New Year's 2022, I was pretty like not drinking for a while. Maybe I'd gone like a month and a half longest not drinking, but still every now and then I'd get really G'd up when I haven't drank in ages, and I'd be like, I'm so keen to send it on the weekend. Like we'd have like a big event or someone's big birthday or something massive. And I remember we had a New Year's Day party at my parents' house, and it was massive. We had a DJ, and there's heaps of people, all my mates, all my parents' mates, and we all got along as fun as. My parents love a party. And so I wasn't drinking New Year's Eve, and I was in the gym, and I started to get this pain in my stomach, and I was like, oh, what is going on here? It's like real sharp pain, and I was like, what the hell? I wasn't drinking because I had that party the next day. So I woke up, still a bit sore. Anyway, go to my parents, and I'm like, yeah, I got this real sore stomach, and they're like, oh, like, why don't you have a ginger beer? It's supposed to like settle your stomach, like an alcoholic ginger beer. And I was like, oh yeah, had one of them. Oh, it feels a bit better. Had a couple more drinks. Oh, I can barely feel it. More drinks. I can't even feel it at all. And then had the sickest day, sickest night. It was so much fun. And then woke up the next day, and we went out on my mate's boat, and we went and drank the whole day as well, just like sinking boxes of cruisers. Super fun. Can't sleep that night. My stomach is like fully cooked. I'm driving home the next day. My mate's driving. I'm like, dude, slow down, eh? And we're going over like speed bumps. He's like, dude, I'm freaking crawling over these things. I get home and I'm just in fetal position. My dad's like, what are you doing, dude? You need to go to the doctor. This is 1 week into my 2 weeks holiday as a Sparky. Go to the doctor, he's pushing on. He's like, I don't really know, but I would recommend you go to the hospital. I was like to my dad, I'm not going to the hospital, dude. I'm going to lose my freaking holidays. He goes, Cody, you're going to the hospital. Anyway, long story short, I go into the hospital. I'm getting operated on that night, getting my appendix removed. So I've just gone from going to the gym like 7 days a week. Absolutely love the gym at this point. I was starting to not drink. So I was starting to lock in. I'd been meditating. I'd been really working on myself heaps the last like 6 months. I go in, operated, appendix removed. Can't do anything for 6 weeks. And in that moment, I was like, I'm going to come back so hard. And I stopped drinking from then. Completely. I just moved out too, so I was just by myself, had so much time to think, dude. And I was like, this comeback's going to be epic. And so from that moment, I just was like, all right, I'm not going to drink. And I wasn't surrounded around it because I wasn't in my normal environment at home where my friends had just come over and we'd drink, or my parents were always drinking. I was just by myself, locked in an apartment pretty much. And I was like, I'm not going to drink until I knew I had a boys' trip in Bali in June. So I didn't drink for 6 months. And that was when I realized that I couldn't actually talk to people. I couldn't actually look people in the eyes. I couldn't actually talk to girls. That was completely off the cards, dude. And I realized that I relied on alcohol to do all of these things, to socialize, really. And I was like, oh, shit, I've got my work cut out for me. But I wanted to change. I wanted to do it sober. I wanted to show myself that I could socialize because I knew that I was confident. My dad's super confident. Everyone always go, oh, Cody's so confident. When I was a kid, especially when I was drinking, I was extra confident. He's always the life of the party. This guy rocks. I wanted to show myself that I could do that without the need for alcohol. And then, yeah, so I went completely sober then. And then in Bali, I drank for about a week straight when I first landed in Bali. And I was feeling so good, dude. So I just worked on myself for like 6 months, and I was firing, dude. This is the best I'd ever felt in my life. I was like, wow. And then I add alcohol to that confidence, and it just like tenfolds it. So I'm talking to everyone, going up to chicks, and I'm just doing all sorts of things. Drink for like a week straight with minimal sleep, minimal eating, completely wrong thing to do. And it all catches up to me like a week in, bang, dude, I'm fucked. And I was like, I don't think I ever want to do that again. And ever since then, I haven't drank. And I won't again. It was never in my mind that I would never drink again. Never. Because you've grown up around it, dude, especially in Australia. Like I said, my parents love a drink. My dad loves a drink, but he's also a super hard worker, and it's always just been completely okay to drink. And I don't think that it's not, but it was always in my head like, yeah, I'm just stopping now. You know, like when I have big events and things like that, I'm sweet. It wasn't until I actually came back and surrounded myself around the people that I do, and Will has been a big part of that. And he's just made me really question that belief. It's like, well, do you have to drink? And then I sort of came to the answer myself, and I was like, well, if I love how I am when I don't drink, then I don't need it. And it sort of like overcame that belief in my head. So yeah, I'll never drink again. I don't need it in my life, and I've come to terms with that. And like we said, it's what works best for me. It's when I feel my best, and that's my mission is to feel my best and inspire other people to feel theirs.
No, I get what you're saying there. It's funny though when you said like you went to Bali and you started drinking, it was like the confidence of being healthy and fit, but then you said you had a drink and like you were just extra, like that's what I mean. But it's like finding that balance there's such a big difference between going on like a week-long bender and going out and having, like that's the thing that I guess but then this is coming back to, I feel like I've always had a pretty good relationship with alcohol. Like even when I was younger, I just, for whatever reason, my parents had a good relationship with it. I had a good relationship. Like I can't remember the last time I got drunk. Like it was like I would get that little bit tipsy, and I felt like it was like 3 drinks, and then it was just downhill after that. So I decided like I have 3 drinks, loosen up a little bit, be a bit more like flow a bit better, and then stop. But like you say, it's a gateway for so many people that they can't just put that hard stop on it. And then like with conditioning in Australia of like you go to a barbecue, you have a beer, you go to this, you have a beer. Like we have conditioned everyone to think it's like, I'm going out, you have to drink. And then if you don't drink, then you see the judgment of other people because they have their own insecurities that come out. You're like, well, if you're not drinking, it makes me look bad because I need a drink to then socialize and be the person I want to be. How did you find you found ways to be outgoing and be the person you knew you were outside of drinking alcohol? Because you said you obviously stopped, you couldn't talk to girls, you couldn't be social, you couldn't look people in the eyes. What was the things that you put in place so that you could do that?
It's just, I mean, people call it exposure therapy. It's just I was like, I need to do small things, and really small things, bro. Like a really easy one for me is when I was out walking, I'd just say good morning to people. So easy because you're going opposite ways. There's no conversation needed. You just quick good morning. If they say it back, perfect. If they don't, oh well, we're walking different ways anyway. I'll try the next person. Small things like that, dude. And then like even just talking to the gym receptionist people would just scare the crap out of me, dude. So small things like that. And then I was talking to them, and then I'd talk to other people in the gym, and I'd be like, okay, well, I want to talk to one stranger every day. And I'd go and talk to one stranger every day. And then before you know it, I'm walking into the gym, having a 10-minute yarn with the receptionist, and then I'm going and knuckling everyone in the gym, and everyone knows you, and it sort of just compounds and adds up. That's literally how I did it. And then a massive, massive part is surrounding yourself around people who push you to do more or do better. So when I first stopped drinking, I was like, what the hell? How do I make friends, dude? How do I do this? And I'd just spent so much time by myself. It's just like headphones on in the gym. Like, I was like, this can't be it, bro. Like, I'm surely a social guy. And when you surround yourself around people who push you and do the things that you want to do, and you're like, oh, I can just copy him until I sort of find my own groove. And I just did that. people that I'd look up to, I'd be like, all right, well, he's crushing that. I'm just going to try that. And I'd try it. And I'd go, okay, well, I'd probably do it like this. And I'd do it that way, do it with my own spin. And then people start to like it. And you're like, oh, shit, people like this. Okay, let me just do this more. And then, yeah, it just sort of snowballs and compounds. But I was definitely, it definitely took some work, and it's hard. It's hard to push yourself constantly out of that comfort zone. But what I learnt over the time was that that's where all the growth is. When you do, you feel the fear and you do the thing anyway.
And I guess the hard part as well is going back to that time that you were in your apartment and there was no one there. And it's like this, there's always a point between when you lose your old friends that you don't align with anymore and you make the new friends that you do. And people don't want to go in that lonely patch. There's the patch where either you break up from relationship or you lose friends.
I was in the middle of a breakup too.
Yeah. So, but in that time, man, like that time is so valuable because like you said, like you're not only alone, you're like obviously had the appendix thing as well. So you're recovering. But in those times, in those moments when you are literally by yourself and you have nothing really going for you at that time, like that's when you figure out what you want. That's when you figure out who you are. And so often that we don't want to put ourselves in that situation because it sucks.
Yeah.
Like
it sucks.
It's
dude.
the worst thing ever. But it's like this whole idea of like prolonging the suck is going to make your life kind of bad for a long time, or it can be really bad. And this is really bad mentally for yourself.
Yeah.
For a short amount of time. And then you go, okay, what do I want? Who am I? Where do I want to go? And who do I want to do it with?
Yeah.
And once you figure that out, then it's like, okay, now I can go align with the people I want to. And that's obviously what you found. But it's like, there is always going to be a point that is going to suck.
Yeah.
And it's embracing that point because it's like, it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
If you want to go to a new point in your life, whether it's moving location, whether it's changing friend groups, whether it's finding a new person to be in a relationship with, it's like, if things are failing or you're not happy with yourself, like you have to look within and figure out why that is. And you can't do that when you're in a group, when you're with a person, when you're like all these things. It's like, you need to be alone. And people don't like to be alone, especially now.
It's scary to be with your thoughts, bro.
Yeah.
And I think even in today's day and age with social media and phones, and so easy to just distract yourself from actually thinking and actually being alone with yourself. It's so easy to watch YouTube or chuck Netflix on. But I think that's where all the actual learnings come from. We have all the answers within, bro. You just have to ask yourself the right questions.
Do you find it funny because I see from the outside the message you're trying to push? Like, it's obviously, at the end of the day, the message is a positive message. But then it's being wrapped, I guess, in some cringe videos and some things that are a bit out there. But I guess you say it's being you. But do you think, because I look at like, I guess, compare it to when you see people, they blow up by saying some stuff that they probably know it's going to get a response. And they, like Andrew Tate, for example, he used to say some pretty out there stuff. And I know he's toned that back a lot, but he's kind of built his fame. Would you ever, I guess, consider getting to a point and then not changing who you are, but changing how you deliver stuff? Or do you think you're just going to kind of keep going down the path of what you're doing? I
mean, it's whatever I feel right in the time. Like we were sort of saying before, like everything that I do, I think I'm doing the right thing. And that's why it's so important for me to have such good people surround me, because people call me up and go, yo, I don't think that was really on like who you are, dude. I probably wouldn't post something like that again. I go, oh shit, I didn't even think of it that way, bro.
But I think not like still posting that, but you know how you said before that you kind of lean into it a bit more. Would you stop leaning in as much if once you just say created a certain level of fame or publicity through doing it, or you just see how it feels in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's just how it feels, dude. And it's not like I'm going, oh, I'm going to sit down today and create reels that are going to piss people off. But I mean, if it works, it works. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, and probably, but yeah, I said, I'll just feel my way through it, bro.
But I guess like I said before, the biggest thing for me, the wording. I think the wording between, like, I wrote it down. It's like the whole difference between it worked for me and not saying this is going to work for you. I think that's you said your mum kind of said that as well. I
mean, yeah, no one who I look up to has really brought that up to me. So it's a very valid point that I'll take in. And that's what I mean. I can only learn from things that I post and captions that I write and how I portray things. Like you said, my message is positive. It's just how those people perceive it. And I guess obviously you've perceived it in that different way for that one video or that one caption anyway. Dude, great learning point.
Because I think the thing that I know, if I say something, no matter how out there it may be, if I say, hey, this worked for me, like I jump in a bath every morning filled with like yogurt and it makes me feel good. If someone hates on that, bro, I'm like, sick. Like I didn't say it works for you.
Yeah.
But if I said you need to jump in a tub full of yogurt, you go, fuck off. Like I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
It's that different, just that those two words shifted around. It works for me. This will work for you. And I think once you just direct whatever you're doing back to yourself, that comes back to this is authentically me. This is what I'm doing. You can try it, sweet. If you don't want to try it, sweet. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go about your life.
Yeah.
I think that's just, for me personally, that's how I've always tried to project my message to someone is like, this works for me. Do what you want with it.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to grab a hold of it and run with it? Sick. If you don't, sick. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then it all comes back to, I guess, the hard thing. I was thinking about this because it's like, okay, you word it differently and it doesn't get as big a reaction. It doesn't get as many comments and then it doesn't grow as much. And I was like, does that make it a good or a bad thing? And it's like, which way do you fall on these? It's like, that's why I was really interested to talk to you because it's like, I feel like I've been pushing certain ways of living and being healthy and being mindful and being grateful and all these things. And I guess a lot of it doesn't hit as much as I thought it would. And then when I see things that I say that people perceive as being a negative really hit, I'm like, is that the path to kind of like go down to blow this up? But in a way that it's like, you're not intentionally making hate, but you're just being controversial in a way that will make people comment and blow it up.
Yeah. I mean, controversial content is what really hits. And yeah, people like negativity over positivity. It's just the way that the world's sort of wired. So you could try. If it's you though, you know, like I actually will go out and tell people that I think balance is bullshit. I could literally change that caption with just, like the start. It could just be like, this has worked for me.
Yeah.
And it would change that whole caption, probably how it's read, you know?
Exactly, yeah. I get what you're saying with the whole balance is bullshit thing because there's parts of it which I like, be like, you do need balance in a sense, but do you know who Tony Robbins is?
Yeah, my brother, yeah.
So he has a quote that I always repeat it, so people are probably going to be sick of it, but he's like, if you want to take the island, you've got to burn the boats. And the whole thing behind that is if you want to take the thing that you want to achieve, you have to literally cut every plan B out of your life to make that happen. And I have felt that in times in my life where I have been so committed to one thing, but the thing with being committed to one thing is you have to understand that other aspects of your life will fail.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, this all comes back to what are your values, what is your why, what is your goals?
Yeah.
And if becoming this person, that is your main focus, you have to understand that you're going to pay a tax, whether it be with your family members, with maybe socializing, with feeling certain things or seeing certain places. Like that comes with trying to achieve one thing.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, all good. If you're not, then that's maybe when you go, okay, well, what balance works for me where I might not be the best in the world at this thing, but my family life's still going to be good. I'm still going to have a relationship with my daughter. I'm still going to have a relationship with my wife. I'm still going to be able to do certain things. And it's just becoming okay with what can I live with and still achieve the things I need to achieve. And it's like, that's all going to be so independent on the person.
100%, bro. And they're all just sacrifices. Like I've lost relationships, I've lost friendships, I've lost memories, I've lost heaps of stuff, but it's just where I want to go. And I'm so young, like all of that stuff. And like you said, it's independent. I don't have any of those things like to worry about wives and kids and stuff like that. I'm single. So I can, and that will probably change when I have a partner in life. You know, I'll have to adapt and I can't be as full on as I am right now. But that's what I mean. I'm like, well, I don't have that right now, so it's perfect time for me to, because I see myself like in the, I don't really like picture like my life or anything, but I know I'm going to be somewhere great, bro. And I know that the daily reps of me showing up, the consistency is what's going to get me there, or in my eyes anyway, because it's got me to where I am, and I love doing it anyway. Like I love just like curing my inner bitch when I get in that ice bath in the morning.
Do you have any regrets that you would look back and change, or is there anything you would go back and change about getting you? And I know everyone says like I'm happy where I am, but there's always got to be something that you go, okay, maybe I should have done this sooner or differently or whatever it may be.
I probably would have quit my job sooner. Ever since I've, and it's just over a year now that I've been unemployed, making it work. But I've been, my quality of life has gone through the moon.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't hate my job. I'm an electrician by trade, and I stayed with the same company for 5.5 years or something. I had a really good company, but just taking that risk was something that I'd probably would have done sooner if I had the chance again. And just, if I could tell that Cody something, it's like, dude, just keep going. Just keep showing up. Take the risk, feel the fear, do it anyway, get uncomfortable. It'll all work out. Probably better than you imagine.
And you know.
Sorry?
Like, then you'd know.
Yeah.
Like, at least you know that, even if it doesn't work out, it's like, well, then you know at least.
Well, I had a really good, and it's from the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss. And I was reading that before I quit my job. And it was like, the risk that you want to take, write down on this side exactly where you're at right now. Okay, I'm a qualified electrician. I earn this much a year. I'd have a company car. I don't really pay for anything, right? Okay, if you take the risk, how hard would it be to get back exactly there? One phone call. I was like, what the hell? I just call my boss back up. I'm like, we're still mates now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he knows I'm a hard worker. He knows that I'll work for the company and do my best. It's one phone call between you and, like, when you actually lay it out like that, there's no real risk. Do you know what I mean? Go and freaking do it. If you spend all of your money, I'm only freaking 21 when I was making this decision. I was like, I've only been saving money for 4 years anyway, dude. Like, in the grand scheme of things, there's no risk attached to this. And the outcome on the other side of that way outweighs the comfortability of staying there.
Mm. Yeah, fear's a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yeah, yeah.
You step into it and you go, oh shit, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I think people, they focus on how things could go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Instead of how things could go amazingly right.
Exactly.
And they can always go both ways.
Mm.
But I heard this thing and I love it, but it's like you normally hit what you aim for.
100%.
And a lot of people aim for the negativity in a situation or the fear of failing, and then they obviously go towards that. Where it's like, if you just put the effort into, it's all like, it gets thrown around as much as authenticity, but just manifesting an idea. It's like if you just see it in your head again and again and again, and talk about it and speak it and be confident about it, like, it normally appears.
Yeah, 100%. And I've been shown too many times by the universe that this stuff is real. Like, the law of attraction is so freaking real, as woo-woo or whatever it sounds to anyone. And I thought the same too. Like, I was just a tradie who was hearing the law of attraction and frequency, and I'm just like, whatever, bro. You know what I mean? Like, cuckoo shit. Like, I don't want to hear it. But the more that I learnt about it, that was what completely, like, changed my life, is a podcast called 31 Minutes by Matt Steinway. And he just talks about frequency, vibration, positive thoughts. And I'm hearing it going, it just doesn't add up, dude. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, well, I just get angry at sitting here at traffic lights, or I just talk shit about my apprentice, or I'm just gossiping and complaining all day. Let me just try and change that. And then shit starts to happen your way. And, like, you do just start to rewire that brain and start to think positively, whereas you would normally think negatively. or it's like, or you get that stress. It's like, oh, well, fuck, my boss is going to call me and be angry because I didn't get to the next job. It's like, well, but did you do your best? Yeah, I did. Oh, okay, well, what can he be angry about? Hey, man, I smashed it out. Like, I tried my best. I'm going to have to come back here tomorrow. Oh, okay. And he's just fine with it, and you've just worked up all of this stress and negativity in your head for no reason, whereas the outcome is way better than what you thought it would be anyway. So, yeah, frequency is massive, and it all comes from, and frequency is just how you're feeling, and it's all come from your emotions. And the emotion, do you know the emotional guidance scale?
No, tell us.
Yeah, so it's just like there's probably 6 or so emotions in the green zone, and then it's red. And right at the top is love, appreciation, gratitude, excitement, all of those nice emotions, right? Down the bottom is fear, jealousy, all just crappy emotions. So I'd have it set as my screensaver, and throughout the day, I'd look at it and be like, what am I right now? Am I thinking and it shows you red, green. This is from Esther Hicks, if you know who Esther Hicks is. And I'd be like, okay, well, let's just flip it back to the top and find something that I'm grateful for, or find something that excites me. I'm excited to knock off. Sweet, let's think about that. And then over time, it sort of just rewires in your brain. If you can just stay in these happy emotions, your life will dramatically change. I literally would just have it set as my phone screensaver and look at it when I'm feeling shit and be like, where am I right now? I'm complaining. That's why I'm feeling shit, dude. Okay, well, what do I like about the situation that I'm in? Smoko's in 15 minutes. Sick. Can't wait to eat. I'm starving.
Yeah.
And just flip the script. And you slowly start to rewire your brain. And then you slowly start to just always think of the positive. I've spilt my coffee on my freaking shorts this morning before I got in the car to go to work. Now I'm going to be late. I'm going to be rushing. Whoa. That doesn't get rid of the coffee on your shorts, dude. Just freaking go and change your shorts. Call your boss. Hey, man, I'm going to be 15 late. Sorry. And it just you sort of start to rewire that.
Be pumped you got another pair of shorts.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the excitement? And I try and live my life in excitement, in the zone, in that high frequency. Flip it around, having conversations like this, it's so easy to, and that's why I think, and this is why a morning routine works so well for me, is because otherwise I'll just roll over, grab my phone, scroll on Instagram, and maybe like I'm filled with dopamine and whatnot already. Whereas when I go and actually take time for myself before I would even go to work and I'd go and train, I'd feel good already. I'm in a high vibration. So then when I go to work, I can put up with more shit. I can handle that stress better. I can have the harder conversations easier. Things like that. So.
No, that's a really good point you put across there. I was going to ask you, have you ever had people come up to you and say hateful things or be mean in person?
No. I had one guy I was running. I mean, the blonde hair as well. I stand out a bit. A lot of people sort of know me along that Miami/Burley strip where we run. I had one guy and I was with my best mate Keen, who I moved overseas with. And he was sitting in his car, hanging over the window, like the door. And I was riding a bike and my mate was running. I was sort of pacing him for a fast 5K. And we were just warming up and he yells out, "Cody Adams." And I was just like, yeah, whatever. And kept riding. And my mate Keen stops, turns around and walks to him and goes, "Yo." And the guy goes, he's hanging out of over his window, sucking on a vape. They've got like a car full of people. And he goes, "Oh, you must have the wrong guy." And I was just behind him and I was like, yo, obviously knew it was me. And he goes, "Oh, your TikToks are cringe, bro." And my mate's just like, "Dude, scroll past him." Like,
yeah, don't follow him.
Yeah, just I said, "Dude, just scroll past him." Like, you're putting negative energy into your life by thinking about him. Just scroll past him, dude. And by commenting on him, they're going to pop up more.
Yeah.
So that was the only time. But other than that, no one's ever really said anything to me.
What about positive?
Yeah, heaps, dude. So many. It's so sick. Like, I'll have people come to Mega Run and go, "Hey, this is a really cool one." Really stuck with me. This girl's seen my page and she was like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I came to Mega Run today because of you, and like the community is really good. I just wanted to let you know as well that my friend, actually, I said that I was coming to Mega Run, and he said, oh, how'd you find out about that? I said, oh, this guy on the internet, I sent him your profile, and he said, no way, I've seen that guy. I was having a really shit morning one day, and I went for a walk along the Esplanade, and he said good morning and high-fived me, and it changed my whole mood. And that was so sick, dude. I love that shit. And it's like, it goes to show, and I would never find that out unless it's through that chick. Like, I got goosebumps thinking about that, bro. But it just goes to show that that smile or that story or that post that maybe you're too nervous to do, or that good morning, has so much effect that you don't even know. But sometimes we're just too scared to smile at someone or say good morning or tell the lady giving you coffee that she has cute glasses, because we're just so in our heads. It's all just made up, dude. But then you'll never get the experience of having people come up to you like that and say that you completely changed their day.
Yeah, it's funny how the hate stays on the phone and the positivity actually comes to life.
100%, dude. Yeah. I mean, I've had people comment some rogue stuff, bro. And even like DM me.
What do you say to the DMs?
Oh, I just leave them. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I saw some, and there's like, there's some guys that, like, they come back.
Oh, dude, there's probably like 10 of them. Yeah. Yeah. And they're all sort of like bonding together now too.
It's like this weird toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Like, just want, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get in there again. Like, I don't understand that, because I've never been in a point where I think I need to like rip into someone. Like I said, if I don't like your stuff, I just won't follow you.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an easy thing. Like, it comes back to like, this is my business, this is my store. If you don't like it, don't come in.
Yeah.
It's easier not to.
Yeah.
But if you keep coming in every day and keep complaining about it, and like my analogy of throwing money on the ground,
I like that.
You just come and pick up the money, put in your wallet, and go see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. 100%, dude.
What's the point?
And like, that's what I mean. That they all, some speak like, oh, run past Burley, bro, and I'll high five with shit in my hand. It's like, you're not going to though. I run past there freaking every day, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird what does actually make it through. And it's just like, I guess it's if you shift the whole thing of looking at it, it's like, where are you at in life that you need to throw negative shit around?
100%, dude. And it's like, I mean, I've been in some pretty low places and never thought about to comment on someone's Instagram post that I didn't like. So I do feel for him, you know. I'm like, far out, dude. Like, where are you in life to want to comment on that? And it's like, some people, you go on their profile and they've got kids and they're married, and it's like, dude, I feel bad for those kids.
Yeah.
Like, what you don't even have any like characteristics or values yourself. What's the kid gonna learn, dude?
Yeah. I'd be pretty let down if I saw my dad throwing negative comments on TikTok and be like, Dad, just fucking go do something else.
Come on, dude. Leave that space for me, man.
Yeah, man. Well, you just said then, like, you've gone through some low points. What do you reckon one of the biggest low points you would have gone through?
Oh, dude, I was addicted to Xanax at one point. That was pretty low. I don't know if you're familiar with Xanax, but it's just an antidepressant. Very addictive. Very, very one of the most addictive drugs on the planet. And yeah, you just feel numb when you're on it. I used to eat them I used to sell them as well. I used to eat them at school. I went to trade college for years 11 and 12. I used to eat them at school and just be like proper out of it, space cadet, just middle of English class and shit. Pretty low. One of my worst times ever was getting kicked out of my dad kicked me out of his house. So my parents are split up when I was 4. And
how did that affect you?
Dude, not really, to be honest. I don't even have a memory of them together. So it was just normal for me. It was definitely odd when I'd go over to my friends' houses when I was in primary school and things like that, and both parents were there. I'd be like, huh, what the hell? They both live in the same house? That's weird. But to be completely honest, dude, like, not really. I don't have any memory. I was too young.
Yeah.
Different story for if I was, 8 or 12 or something like that. But so that didn't really bother me. It was just normal to pack a bag and go to dad's this week and then pack a bag and go to mum's next week. But yeah, I remember this night so clearly. I actually was supposed to look after my brother, and my brother's 7 years younger than me. And my parents were out, and I snuck out to go to a party. and left I think he would have been 7 or something, or maybe 8, 8-year-old brother at home by himself, and snuck out and went to a party. Got home late as I told my brother, yo, just tell dad that you went to bed and it was all good. Like, don't tell him. He was like, yeah, sweet. Anyway, woke up the next morning. My dad's like, were you out last night? And I was like, nah. And he's like, well, Jalen told me. And then, anyway, this big kerfuffle happens and my stepmom comes in and says some words and I say some worse words back to her, and my dad comes up and we're at the top of our stairs at the time in that house, and he squares up to me. He's never done that before, like shapes up to me, ready to go. And I was just young and arrogant and thought that the world revolved around me. I said, hit me. That's such a fucking knob jockey thing to say to your dad, eh? Like, and you've just done something so horrid, like left your incapable brother at home when you're supposed to be looking after him. Like, looking back on that is just ridiculous, dude. And because I was underage, so I was 17. And I said, hit me. And he didn't hit me. And he just goes, get the fuck out of my house. And kicked me out. And it was raining that night. And I went to my mate's house and ended up having to train and shit to my mum's. And yeah, I didn't talk to my dad for like a year. And my dad and I are like best mates. So that is one of my worst memories, is that night getting kicked out. And I remember thinking like, oh, fuck him, you know. But yeah, and then sort of that's where the Xanax and things started to take more of an effect on my life, was when I was sort of at my mum's and I was smoking weed every day. And yeah, so that was a pretty shit time.
Do you feel like you've got an addictive personality?
Yeah, 100%.
And you grab stuff and then this is going to be everything for a while?
Yeah, 100%. I did it. I've done it forever. I'd be like, even when I was younger, I'd be like, I want a PlayStation more than I want to breathe, dude. And then I'd get a PlayStation and I'd play it for like 2 months and I'd be like, dude, I just want this downhill mountain bike so bad, bro. And then I'd get that or maybe not get it, and I'd be over it. I'd be like, dude, I freaking love photography. Yeah. And it'd be my thing for 2 months. I'd research it, YouTube it, know exactly what camera and what lenses I want. And then I wouldn't have enough money and I just wouldn't get it, and I'd be on to the next thing.
Do you think that's going to happen again now with the whole like running fitness kind of thing? Do you think you've changed that, or are you pretty...
I mean, potentially. It's like I was so obsessed with gym, bro. Like I was such a gym junkie. And now the gym's just boring to me because I've found like this other thing where I'm pretty good at and I can progress further at it. And then it's like running. It's like, okay, well, you can only get to a certain time of my athletic ability. You can always get a little bit better, but once you're sort of at that peak, which will take you a while to get there, but then it's just like, oh, well, what about high rocks? And I'm like, oh yeah, high rocks looks sick. Oh, I love the ergs, and I'd never been on an erg before 2 months ago. Yeah. But I think it will always be in that fitness and health and wellness space. But it could very easily change things.
What's your goal with the whole running thing? Like, where do you want to go? Do you want to do like marathons, competitions? Like, what's the...
Nah, not really at all. I only started running at the start of this year. My goal is, I just love the progression. So when I start something new and I'm a beginner at it, every time I go for a run, I feel better. I'm like, yo, this is sick. Like, for instance, I just trained for 10 weeks and took half an hour off my half marathon time, which is unheard of, dude. Shout out.
What was the time?
Sub 1:30. So I got 1:29:40.
Yeah.
That was from Run Mega.
Yeah.
So, which is Megan Will's program. Yeah. Killer. And yeah, so I'm just like, I love that feeling, you know? And it's like, okay, well, I'll go to High Rocks and try that. And it's like, okay, well, I could probably get a way better time next competition. So I love that progression. But with running, I love the long runs. The long runs is where you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah, you go in, hey?
You go in, dude. So I did a challenge. It's called the Mega Goggins Challenge.
Yeah. It's
10K every 4 hours for 48 hours, totaling in 120K. And fuck, some of those runs sucked, dude. But you're just going out and you're getting them done, and you're in your head and you're in your thoughts, and it's dark, it's 2 a.m, it's pissing down rain. And that's where you're really like, I'm out here, dude.
Well, it comes back to you in the apartment. It's that whole thing. It's like putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation deliberately and seeing what comes up.
Exactly. And when you do it deliberately, when things that you can't control come up, you can handle them way better.
That's the whole life, mate. You're just training for life.
100%.
Like that's the thing. Like, why do hard stuff? It's like because hard stuff's going to happen to you regardless of
Yep.
you training for it.
Yeah.
So by training and putting yourself in these situations, it gives you more tools to be able to deal with when like a family member dies, when you lose your job, when shit hits a family.
Because they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like how strong and resilient can you build yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You mentioned the mega run and the programs because I saw some comments about people getting annoyed at you for pushing. I think they think it's your program.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Can you explain who made the program?
Yeah.
And what it's about?
Yeah. So Meg Martin writes all the programs. She's got all the certificates and things that you need to write programs. I mean, not that you need them to write programs, because if you're a freaking good runner, you can suppose teach people more than what they already know.
Yeah.
But anyway, Meg's got all of her certificates and everything's like that. She's a freaking killer, dude. Like if you check out her Instagram, Meg Sutherland, she's a killer, dude. Like she's the world aerobics world champion for when she was 16 or something. Like always just been an athlete. Will and Meg just won for their age group worlds in Nice, France.
I've seen that with Canine Steve.
Yeah. I love Steve-O. He's a weapon, isn't he?
I'm trying to he's going to come on the pod when he
Yeah,
comes
he's
back.
such a good dude. I always see him running around just looking like a tank, eh?
Yeah. It's connected up here, bro.
Yeah,
It's connected.
yeah. So, yeah, Meg writes all the programs. She absolutely loves it. She's got her nutritionist. She's got a like the physical one as well. I don't know the exact certs, but she writes all the programs. I literally just help sell them. I solely believe in them. I followed it to a T, took half an hour off my freaking half marathon time. So, I mean, if I believe in something, I'll sell it, and I'll only talk about things that I actually use, know, and love.
Yeah.
I solely believe that. Like I'm talking to a few brands at the moment, and it's like I need to jump on a call and talk about your purpose and your why, and does it align with who I am and what message I'm trying to spread before I'll even and definitely try out the product, whatever it is, before I tell anyone to use it.
What is your message?
My message is, I want to inspire people to push past their limits. That's my why. I love that shit. It's like I've tried coaching and I didn't really like it. I didn't love it, you know. And coaching, more like, I guess you could say like life coaching. It's like mindset and physical and gym and things like that. Just pretty much people that are behind me in like where I was, right? For myself 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Didn't like it. I like working on myself and making myself better and inspiring other people through my own feats. So by going in and doing hard things myself, learning, growing, being the best version of me, and people see that like, wow, if he can do it, I can do it. Because we're all just humans, dude. Like I'm just a normal human. I have shit days as well. But people always put people, like you would probably relate to this as well, like on a pedestal. They just see, you know, your Instagram or whatever it may be and go, wow, man, like, and I definitely still do this. And you go, that guy must have it all sorted out. Dude, no one has it sorted out. We all have shit days. We all stress. We all overthink. It's just how quickly you can get back to that high frequency and that high vibration. So, I mean, definitely my message is I really love to push drop the drink. I think that the world would be a better place if we had more people going all in on their passions, more people sober, more people really giving it a crack, taking risks, you know, and in a place to take risks and feel good doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So say, what scares you?
That's a good question. Not being who I'm supposed to be. Not reaching my full potential. I don't know what that is. I don't know where that is. I don't know who that guy is. And it's like I grow so quick. I'm like a new guy every month. Like if you listen to my podcast that I did in Bali, you'd be like, who is that? Who is that dude? I love chasing that progression. And I think that I'm super scared of being stagnant or going backwards.
Yeah, your version of what backwards is.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
Yeah, it's like transcending your flawed self
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Every day.
Mm.
Yeah, showing up in the way you know you should show up.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, I love it as well. Like, I actually do love working out. Obviously, not every workout you want to go and hit a 35K run for a marathon prep run, but majority of the time, I actually love it. I love pushing the limits. I love learning how far I can actually go, how much I can actually push, how much in here is actually fake.
Yeah.
You know, like your mind gives up so early compared to your body.
I think it's the power that a lot of people have never kind of touched, of when you kind of push yourself past the idea of what you believed you were capable of, and you go past that and you go, oh shit, like I can go past that. And it's like the dopamine overload or serotonin overload of like, oh my God, like what I thought was once impossible now seems very doable.
Yeah.
And once you keep ticking those off, it like releases obviously all what I just said into your body, and then it's like, oh my God, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
And you can keep being that person again and again and again.
Yeah. And this is Meg's quote as well. It's through the feats of others we realize that we can, I'm going to stuff this up, don't quote me, but it's a great quote. Through the feats of others we realize what's possible. Through the feats of our own we realize we're capable of more.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And that's exactly what I think I'm doing. It's like people go, well, shit, he did it. Why don't I try for myself? And then they go and do it themselves. It's like, I could never run a 10K. And then I run next to you the whole time and we run a 10K. And they come back and they're like, holy shit, what other areas of my life am I holding back?
Yeah.
You know, do I like my job?
Yeah.
This guy quit his job and he told me that I could run a 10K and I ran a 10K. Maybe I should quit. You know what I mean? So and it just gets you thinking. And that's literally the whole premise of Mega Run and why I love it so much, is because it's doing exactly that. But it's just, and that's why I said running's the tool. And it's been a tool for me as well. Like when I first came, I was like, I could never run a freaking an ultra, or I could never do a sub 130 half marathon. Like that's just not on the cards. And then months later, you tick in those boxes and you're like, shit, where else am I? Like I thought I was freaking sorted out, you know? Where else am I holding back? And it allows you to push in other areas of your life.
Yeah, you just keep digging.
Exactly, dude. And the well is so deep in everyone. Everyone's got such a deep well, but it's how uncomfortable and how hard do you want to push to discover how far you can go. I love pushing, bro. I love digging in that well.
Seeing what's there.
Yeah, seeing what's there, dude. Like I'm going to do a 100K by the end of this year. Like I want to tick that off. I'm going to learn a lot in that run, dude. That's going to suck.
Well, yeah, you realize you're like, that's when you're really alone. You're alone in pain as well.
Yeah. No one's coming to save you. No one's there for you doing the run. Like you can't get the tick off on the to-do list or the medal without actually doing it, without actually going through these feelings, without actually overcoming that mental barrier and silencing that voice in your head and telling it who's boss. And that's what I love. I think that's what I chase, dude.
Yeah.
Or seek.
Yeah. I say, when you're dead and gone, how do you want to be remembered?
This is a great question. I know that I'm going to change the world. I don't know how, but I know I will. I want to be remembered as a guy who went all in, who gave it his all, left it all on the table. I want to be remembered for someone who did positively impact the world in whatever way that is. I want to be, and I know I will be, a household name. Cody Adams will be a name that majority of people know. And I want that to be for a very positive reason.
Love it. We talked about before the hardest point of your life that you went through. What's the most positive point you've gone through?
Shit.
End on a high.
That's a really good question, dude. And I think that it just keeps coming for me. As in like opportunities and things just keep getting given to me on a silver platter. The last 6 months of my life have been such a highlight, dude. Such a highlight. I'm in the worst financial situation of my life as of 2 weeks ago. but it's just, I know that it's all coming to me. So it doesn't really stress me. Like you said, rent's not a problem. So the last 6 months of my life would be the highlight of my life thus far. And it's only getting better. I can only feel it getting better. I can only see it getting better. The relationships, the conversations, the people I'm meeting, everything is just, the opportunities coming to me, it's just getting better. The highlight, I think, of my life so far is probably meeting Will, who is Meg's husband. We just went like that, dude. And he actually saw me, and he won't mind me saying this, but he saw me the first time, and Meg went, yo, I think this guy's got some potential to be a hype lord and, you know, like, come on the team. And he went, nah, he spends too much time focusing on his hair. He doesn't have it.
I like this because he's bald as well.
Yeah.
Just a bit of hair jealousy.
Dude, he's bald, and he keeps trying to get me to go bald, bro, because he's like, dude, you're spending too much time on your hair, man. But no, ever since I've met him, we've sort of clicked, and my life's definitely changed. He's opened so many doors in me and really given me a lot of... he just helps me understand things that I already think I understand, but just need more questioning or need it articulated properly to me. And yeah, my life's changed drastically since meeting him. So I think that's definitely a highlight of mine, bro. And I don't know where we'll end up in the future, us two or us three together, Meg, Will, and I, but it'll be somewhere freaking epic.
Sick.
Yeah.
It's even how he said that about you. It's like there's this thing that the podcast has helped me understand, and I think just in being exposed to a lot of different cultures, like traveling and doing that, is like, you don't judge a book by its cover. Like, pick it up and read it.
Yeah.
Like, figure out what's in there, because so often, and you would feel this on such a large scale, it's like all these people have a perception of who you are or who they think you are. And it's like, talk to them.
Yeah.
Figure it out, because social media isn't real.
Yeah.
It's just this big fantasy land of just the best highlights. Like
Yep.
you said, cringy stuff to get likes and comments and all this other crap that isn't actually who you are. And the amount of times you'll meet someone or go into something without the perception that, it's like every time you have someone on social media, it's like you're constantly fighting this battle of who you think they are, who social media portrays them, and who they actually are.
Yeah.
And it's like you're trying to bounce between these three different people that all exist, but it's just the one person. And it's like, I love when you meet someone and then go, oh, okay, this is like, you're not who I thought. And I get that a lot when people would see, like, when I used to race mountain bikes, like, they think you're a certain person. Then you meet them like, oh, that's not what I expected. I'm like, yeah. That's one part of me that I put out to the world. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really enjoyed this because I didn't know how this was going to go. This is the first time we've obviously met.
Yeah.
But talking to you on here and going into it with an open mind of like, why are you doing this and what's the reason behind it? And then you actually hear something, you go, oh, that's like, again, it's like a positive overall message to be sending. So no, I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it as well.
No worry at all. We need to go for a run.
Yeah, dude, let's get out there.
I need to get to the mega run. When do you do it? When it's mainly weekends?
So we have the actual run clubs on Sunday. In winter, we meet at 6 and run at 6:30. But in summer, it's 5:30 meet, run at 6.
Yeah.
Every Sunday at Talabadra Creek.
Yeah, it's close. I'm in Palmy anyway, so it's close.
Yeah,
by.
come down.
All right, I'll come for a run.
Yeah, done.
All right, bro. Cheers to that.
Dude, pleasure.
Too easy.